What's up, everybody? This is In the Pocket, where we talk about the things and people around sports that you want to talk about. I'm Big Bob. That's Maestro. Maestro, how are you doing today?
Outstanding, my dude, Big Bob, man. Just hanging through it, do the thing, do what we do, how we do what we do. How you feeling, big brother?
I am doing great. I am doing great. Couple days away from the big game, the Super Bowl. I figure we can save that topic for the end. I feel like we probably with
Yeah.
our in the pocket parlay last week, we probably gave our hand away a little bit, but we didn't really talk about it, so we'll save that for a little bit later. But let's get started. Some of the big news out of the NBA: Giannis did not get traded, despite multiple teams obviously trying to trade for him. So, are you surprised that he didn't get traded, or what are your thoughts on that?
So, okay. Yes, I am surprised, but I'm surprised because of the imbalance of so many teams and their contracts this year. I'm surprised because so many teams do not own their own draft picks this year. I think Milwaukee, and I meant to look it up because I think I talked about it before. I think Milwaukee is the only team that actually has control of their first round draft pick, which is only what? It's only 2 rounds anyway. So, you know, I'm not I'm surprised, but I think the reason for him not being traded has more to do with the contractual setup of all these other teams as opposed to Milwaukee being in the good position that they're in. And for what Milwaukee could get back for him, I think the other teams are already leaking oil so bad. I don't think they can necessarily afford him, not necessarily cash wise, but afford him contract wise with what they would have to give up to balance.
Yeah, I'm surprised that they didn't trade him just because of how much smoke there was leading up to it.
Yeah,
However,
true.
I also don't feel like they're not in a rush. His contract isn't expiring.
Right.
He has I believe a player extension or a player option for
Mm.
2027 to 2028. So I don't think they're in a rush. Plus, they're going to be able to get a lot. And if they actually take the time, sit down over the summer, and put some things together, I think that the summer is probably where we can see him traded. Again, they still have, if my math is right, 26, 27, 27, 28. So they still have, if he decides to exercise his 27, 28, um,
Right.
they still got him for 2 more years. However, if the rumors are true that he doesn't want to be there, he doesn't think they're taking things seriously, then I can see them trading him this summer. I'd probably say I bet 99.9% that they trade him this summer. Um,
Yeah.
Obviously, we saw a
You know,
lot. Go ahead.
no. Go ahead. Go. But I got you. I got you. Go ahead, boo.
No,
I
I
got you.
was just gonna say, with like you said, the contract. I don't know if there was anything that was super enticing to the Bucks. They don't want to. They're not going to want to rebuild. They're not going to want to completely rebuild. And trading arguably the best player in the NBA would pretty much start a complete rebuild. I don't know if they're going to get what they want. So, like, I'm just going to use the Sixers for example. Obviously, that would be a great thing for the Sixers to get Giannis. He's not coming here. They're not trading for him.
Hmm.
But they would have to give up Edgecombe, probably Embiid, all their first round picks. I think we just got a first round pick and 3 second round picks for trading Jared McCain, which I absolutely hate being a 76ers fan. I want to jump in front of a bus and never ever talk about them ever again because I loved McCain. I did. We are such a terrible franchise. We don't. I get that Edgecombe is really coming on. I mean, this is not what I was expecting from him. When we drafted him, I'm like,
True.
okay,
Yeah.
we're gonna see a couple. It's gonna take a couple years. I mean, he's been a nice player for them, but I feel like you have to, especially with small ball. There's got to be a way for you to be able to have Maxi, Edgecombe, and McCain all coexist. Again, that would be a small lineup. But if you have a player like Embiid who can learn how to play with his size, which we know when he does, he can really dominate a game. But if you have that, you can probably throw around three little guards out there running around together. But I just think the Sixers are never going to figure it out. I mean, that's a topic for another time if I want to cry and or hurt myself. But I really I I would I am very, very sure that once that season is over, when we hit the summer, Giannis is gone. They're going to get a nice haul for him. Again, they're not going to settle.
Right.
They're not going to settle at all. But we'll see it in the summer. I don't think we're going to see Giannis as a Buck in 2026, 2027.
I got you. So here was here. So okay, here's what I was going to ask, and I want to ask you, and I want to ask our viewers too, which I really thank you guys for hanging out with us. One, do you not think that if Giannis wanted to be traded, he wouldn't be traded? It's a player-driven league. They decide when and where they go. So if he really wanted to be traded, do you think that he wouldn't have been traded out? That they would have worked some under the table deal with somebody else. Hey guys, I want to come to you. You want me? Yes, of course you want me. Let's make this work. Blah blah blah. Whatever. Do we got to do on top of the table to make it look legit, but it's going down on the sideways. So that's technically one question with the lead into the answer. The fact that I think if he wanted to be traded, I think he would be traded. How do you guys feel? What do you guys say about that? That's one. Two, in the reality of team structures now in the NBA, and if I'm wrong, please, my brother Bob, tell me. Please, our listeners, please tell me. Just going to educate Maestro on this. Every NBA team, with the exception of maybe two or three, are probably in some sort of hierarchical mess where the inmates are running the assignment. There's no real structure within the team. And it's almost as if it's a money laundering operation, except for there's actually real money involved because all those contracts are guaranteed. And I just don't, when I think of good organizations, there's nobody in the NBA where I said, yeah, I would trust them, to run my business. I don't see it. I could be, and if I'm wrong, please educate me on this. But looking at how many teams don't own their draft picks, look at how many teams are in some sort of way in water around their salary cap and playing that luxury tax issue. Look at how many teams are. It's almost as if we don't. Okay, an NFL franchise like my Jets can be horribly run and still be profitable in a way, just because of the nature of the NFL. NBA teams can probably be horribly run and on some level still be profitable in a way. The only thing that holds them back is that there's not a real salary cap and the luxury tax thing ends up coming back to you in some sort of way. And and just how the league is organized as sort of a traveling roadshow circus. That being said, I just don't see an organization, and I know that's still part of question number 2, and I just made it too long, so I'm going to remind everybody. Is there any well-run NBA franchise? I just don't. Maybe Dallas, but I can't think of anybody.
I mean,
right, exactly.
I can't. How could we can't say that they're? I can't even put them in the top 32, and that's adding 2 fake teams in there.
Wow.
No, but they just traded Luka for nothing. They traded Luka for nothing, and just traded who they traded for. Like, they traded Luka to the Lakers for Anthony Davis, and Anthony Davis is gone. They're terrible. Yeah. They got Cooper Flagg. Congratulations. You got the top player in the draft. Yeah. He's going to be the cornerstone of that franchise for a long time if he decides to stick around. Yeah, but he's
I'm sorry, Bob. I'm not like you. I just don't have faith in that league anymore. I don't have faith in anyone being a cornerstone. I don't have faith if anyone want to stay someplace long enough. I don't have faith in teams building the way they used to. And I'm not saying this. I'm not saying this in a bad way. I'm just saying that I don't see that league ever falling into stability on any level. I just don't. And again, if I'm wrong, please correct me. But I just don't see it, my brother.
I got 4 teams. I have 4 teams that I think we could have that conversation about. It's hard to argue against the Warriors. It's hard to argue against the Celtics. It's hard to argue against the Nuggets and the Thunder. I don't know if I would throw the Timberwolves in there. That's I don't know. I don't know yet. I feel like they haven't done enough to help Anthony Edwards.
Mm,
But I think the
right.
Thunder have truly shown how to build a team. The Nuggets, I'm putting them up there because they're very consistently good and they get
You
far.
know what?
But
And you don't hear of any contractual mess with them. Like you
yeah,
don't hear of people. Yeah, that's a great pull by you, dude. Oh, that's
so
so awesome. Yeah,
so I would say
you
those are
don't
probably
really
the
hear of
four.
them. Yeah. Whereas my Hawks, the Atlanta Hawks, are just they're a freaking electrical fire wrapped in a dumpster fire inside a burrito that is moldy. It is there's just nothing. What is it with me and teams that just aren't right? I don't. It
We're
must be
we're
me.
we're in the same boat. We're in the same boat. The only team that I root for that has been successful in my lifetime has been the Red Wings, and they haven't been successful in years. They're not having a bad
Listen,
season
dude, I'm
this season,
sorry.
but
I'm
they
sorry. Wait, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I love you, but I'm also going to give love to your Vikings. I'm sorry. The way your Vikings, for a time there, the way that they were letting the team be run on the field, the way your coach is able to be this quarterback whisperer, you were having success. And it's not to the level of ring success, but the you couldn't be left out of the conversation. Whereas the Jets are in the conversation, and then the preseason starts, and then we're out of the conversation.
hmm.
And then once we get to the 4 o'clock games on the first Sunday of the season, we're already out of playoff contention. So it's your Vikings as an organization, some petty stuff here and there, but as an organization, I would trust your organization any day.
Uh, but I want to compare. I'm going to make this comparison, and it's very very early because you had mentioned how it's like you can't trust the league today. I
Right.
see similarities with how the Thunder have been built with the way the Spurs dynasty. I think as of right now, I know it's early.
Oh,
I know it's early, but they're real. They're I think that's probably a comparison that I would make
don't
right
they have
now.
people from the Spurs in their front office now?
I can't remember. I'm not
Or am I
sure.
or am I con you know what? No, I'm confusing with the Hawks. The Hawks found a way to flush that down a cruise ship toilet. Um, no, 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 I'm probably it wasn't the Spurs. It was somebody for a time worked for the Hawks from the Golden State Warriors. And all of a sudden, like the stuff that works, that I guess, I guess you can't bring it through security at the Hawks arena. So the stuff that works, you can't. I'm sorry, too soon, too soon. My bad. Yeah, listen to our fans that give us all these great thoughts and stuff like that. I'm not being grumpy on purpose. I really am not. But it's just when the 2 weeks between the the conference championship games and the Super Bowl are those horrid weeks when I hear dumb stuff, and I mean this in the most pejorative way I could think of it. Like for instance, I hear this one guy who calls into a bunch of shows across the country. And unfortunately, because I listen on satellite radio, like I'm flipping between them, and I hear him 3 or 4 times a day. Just like he must have the same thing. And he uses this analogy all the time: Samson versus Goliath. And I want to call in one time and say, does he not? What Bible does he have? Because he always makes these comparisons. It's going to come up later when we talk about the Hall of Fame. But he was saying why Eli Manning would be in the Hall of Fame before Coach Collins will be, because it's Samson versus Goliath. And it's like, first of all, I don't even know how that analogy makes any sense. But I don't want to say their name because I don't want to be that person. But it's just like, dude, I think you got your Bible at Goodwill with like the misprint versions. Because that's not how that happened.
Oh, jeez. Well, yeah. So I do want to stick. Well, because I know we can be here forever talking about this. I want to move on a little bit. We're going to stick to
Mhm.
basketball. Um,
Okay.
One of the things that we talk about a lot, or we have talked about a lot, is the NIL players
Yeah.
spending so long in college, spending so much time in college, players trying to uh, get extra eligibility and stuff. It keeps popping up in the news about one of these things, and there's always controversy. They're like, oh, well, how come this player got their eligibility, but this player was ineligible? And some of it is basic stuff. There's players who they have played, um, played pro level at some point. They've signed a contract. You can't go back to college on that, but you might have
Right.
somebody who, um, you have the NBA. You can sign with an agent, but if you can withdraw from the draft, I think that's still the rule. You can withdraw from the draft before if you decide you want to
Hmm.
return to college. Those are
Right.
different things. But now we have, and obviously we have the one or two players. I know there's one player for sure who got drafted, played in the G League, and then is now playing college basketball again. And again, technically, I guess the G League isn't a professional league. So now, though, we have Amari Bailey, who has
Hmm.
played in the NBA. He is currently going on recruiting trips and is attempting to go back to college after spending time in the NBA. It wasn't a significant amount of games that he played. It was a handful. I think it was 10. Um, he is trying to go back to college, and this was the problem with things not being regulated from the beginning. It is a free for all. Chambliss from Ole Miss just got his eligibility denied, so he's going to be going pro. But what are your I can't I'm disappointed in the way that everything has been handled at the
Hmm.
college level. I am
Hmm.
all for I'm all for players earning money, but it wasn't supposed to be what it is. And what are your thoughts? If Amari Bailey wins his lawsuit or whatever, if he's going through a lawsuit, what does this mean for college athletics? I mean, at this point, I mean, the answer to me is simple, or is right in front of our faces. Is there is no college athletics anymore as it is, but this I feel like that would put a real stamp on the end of college athletics. What are your thoughts on that?
The end of college amateur athletics,
Yeah.
and I think that's ended for a while, Bob. First of all, and I'm biologically obligated to say this. The NCAA is a big pile of rotten garbage that's on fire inside somebody's house, and they popped up on somebody's porch before the day before their wedding and ruined the dress and the cake. How do I really feel about it? I'll tell you. Um, the there is an ugliness to what the NCAA doesn't do because they're making on what little they actually own now between the leagues they have between football, basketball, baseball, football, soccer, lacrosse, blah 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 blah. Because you have all these non-revenue sports that get subsidized and taken care of even through the league through various things, but the teams still have the schools have to pay those fees to be one double A, or I'm sorry, not one double A anymore. I apologize, Division One or whatever.
Yep.
That being said, though, the pot pile of garbage that the NCAA allows for this particular situation, and oh by the way, what it means is I keep thinking of the young man that I had the pleasure of coaching, and he was a pleasure to coach. I'm going to say this: he was a pleasure to coach when I was in the City University of New York system. I was women's basketball coach, women's softball coach. I started the women's soccer team at my college, and I was lucky enough to also work with the men's teams. And working with the basketball team, there was one young man. Now in JUCO, you get 3 years to play two. And this young man, by the time I met him, when he came to us, we were the last of the CUNY JUCO schools that had a basketball team that he hadn't played for. And he managed to play for 2 years at every other institution. So I'm not going to say I was as a student, but he was incredibly apt at writing appeal letters. And before it was said and done, he got that I can honestly count on my fingers and toes. I have to ask the head coach for the men's team. I think he got almost 9 years of eligibility of JUCO basketball. Um, he played on two different schools that won the national championship JUCO, but he played 2 years at every school. I think for us, I think he played 3 years. So there are cats who are managing. And wait, by the way, I'm sorry, this is in the early 2000s, so this is way pre-COVID. Okay, this is way pre-COVID. And I'm saying that to say, NIL has made it so, Bob, in my opinion, NIL has made it so if I'm a player that I'm on the cusp, for instance, I know I'm good enough for college. I don't know if I'll be good enough for the pros. And I know I only have my attitude is this. If I'm good enough to play Division I ball, I'm good enough to at least play in Europe if I can get a chance to play in Europe. So for basketball, I go do that. If I'm good enough to play Division I ball in football, I'm good enough to go play in Canada.
Yeah.
And I have no problem with that. But then again, I also have no ego about that. That being said, if I'm a borderline player like that, if I can guarantee myself to stay in the college life, be big man on campus, literally big man on campus, and I'm gonna be able to pull in $3 or $4 million, figure post taxes, post agent fee, post whatever, because whatever they have now, I'm still gonna be able to keep in a little less than $1 million. Okay, that's not a bad life to get an education. Hint, hint, sarcastic quote. And I don't have the responsibility of being in the pros, knowing that every year they're drafting a guy to take my position, knowing that all it takes is 2 bad performances in a row before I'm out on the street looking for a job. So that being said, it just shows you the NCAA gave a mouse a cookie, and now all the mice want glasses of milk. So they're going to play the system. It's no longer amateur sports in NCAA when it comes to this. It's professional sports. It is what it is. I'm not surprised. Extremely disappointed, but it is what it is, and that's why I just wait to game day now. I rarely take a look at what's going on in terms of the various transfer portal wire talks, the the rules about. I mean, let's face it, Bob, probably when you played, if you want to transfer someplace, if you didn't have the right number of credits, you'd have to sit out till you had the right number of credits to go to your new school. And then there were rules about that. Like you couldn't transfer to a place and play right away if that school had the same major that you just left from. So there were all these rules about what, and then so you had to go through a clearinghouse. I guess there's probably still a clearinghouse right now.
Let's not talk about the clearinghouse.
Yeah. Right.
No.
So okay. So you definitely understand what I'm talking about. But today, it's like 7 people working across 4 offices across the country, and they're like playing online solitaire because nobody does anything like that anymore, man. It's a hot mess. It's a hot burning bag of garbage in the middle of an electrical fire wrapped inside somebody's sock inside the limousine outside a wedding. It's just what it is. and I can't let it go. And I have negative faith, not zero faith. I have negative faith in the NCAA even attempting to make an adult decision to come up with a plan to rein it in, because they've already, you know how when people let the pets outside before they put the leash on them? That's the NCAA. That's the NCAA. They open up the door, all animals go running out the ark, and then it's like, oh, let's try to get them back in, and they're gone. They're out of there.
Yeah.
So that's NCAA, dude. Yeah. So yeah, that's my take.
Well, yeah, I really think we could probably have a podcast episode every single week talking about what is wrong with the NCAA, how they mess something up. There's always something that they messed up, and then they flip what side they're on and then try and take credit. Like they're like politicians. They take the credit for what somebody else came up with.
They are.
Or whatever.
They are. Yeah.
So
you're right.
So I do want to. You mentioned the Hall of Fame. We're gonna jump to the NFL. You mentioned the Hall of Fame earlier. Do you know who? I know we had previously talked, and you didn't know who got inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame this season. Are you ready?
I think I'm ready.
Are you okay?
I'm afraid. I'm a little afraid. I'm not gonna lie, but I think I'm ready.
I do want to start. Well, okay. I want to start off with one that leaves me scratching my head a little bit. And I only say that because, well, let me ask you this. How important do you think stats versus Super Bowl wins is when it comes to making it to the
See,
Hall of Fame?
baby, I'm the wrong guy to ask, boo. I'm the wrong guy to ask. I could care less about Super Bowl wins. If I laid eyes on your beautiful self every game day and I couldn't take my eyes off of you because you were going to do something spectacular because you were so much better than everybody else. Super Bowl is a team thing, and we forget that. Or I'm sorry, I don't mean to say we. Many people forget that. But if Charles Barkley didn't win a championship, but I could watch him. I could watch every single one of his games. He was amazing. You know, as much as you want to talk about other players that never won a championship, they were still amazing to see. One guy I will never give credit to because he and I have personal issues. I'm just going to leave it at. I won't even say his name, Karl Malone. But that's just what it is.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Oh God.
so I could care less how many rings you have. If you were the guy that, as a fan, I had to see you. I had to see you play. Even if you weren't on my team, I had to watch you because you were that spectacular to be a Hall of Famer. If you were the guy that, if I was the offensive coordinator or defense coordinator, your name came out of my mouth at point zero, point zero, point one, point zero, point two, point zero, point three, until I got to point number one, that I was already having nightmares about dealing with you, you're a Hall of Famer. And for me, it's that simple. The championships come as they come. There are a lot of great players that never won championships. There's a lot of players that you don't even know were in the league have multiple rings. That being said, I could care less about the Super Bowl or championship.
Well, I will give you the 15 finalists first,
Okay.
and then
Okay.
I will let you know who made. We are going to come back to that question where I asked you about Super Bowls versus stats. So for the finalists prior to the announcements, Willie Anderson, offensive tackle, Drew Brees, QB, Jari Evans, guard. I'm actually surprised. I don't know why I'm surprised to see him on here. Larry Fitzgerald, and nothing against him. He was a very, very good player. I just didn't think that they would consider him for
Yeah.
the Hall of Fame. Larry Fitzgerald, Frank
He
Gore,
better be in.
Torrey Holt, Luke Kuechly, Eli
Oh.
Manning, Terrell Suggs, Adam Vinatieri, Reggie Wayne, Kevin Williams, shout out Vikings. I'm surprised he was a very, very, very good defensive tackle. Him and Pat Williams, the Williams Wall, loved it. Loved it. I'm surprised at how much love he gets. I just never thought during his playing days, from what I
He
remember,
was
I
so
just didn't
impactful.
feel like him. I never remember people giving him that much love.
He was so
Continue.
impactful.
Yep.
I'm gonna say this real quick about that guy, because even though I don't have an NFC team, I kind of follow the Falcons. I kind of follow the Saints, and every time the Vikings were involved, his name came out of my brain first. Like, they got to deal with that guy. So I'm sorry, he was just very impactful.
Got Jason Witten, Darren Woodson,
Mm,
Marshall Yonda. So very solid class here.
absolutely.
They actually left. Okay, so the one player who got in, they do that. They do that senior thing, where
Yeah, the veterans, whatever veterans or whatever they call it, legacy, whatever. I don't know.
yeah, I get why they do
Yeah.
that, but looking at this list and we'll call him the legacy player who couldn't make it in,
Hmm.
that got in over some of these guys, it's a little. Not saying he's a bad player, but he's not the first person I go to. So, starting off with Roger Craig, running back for the San Francisco 49ers.
To me, he should have been in a long time ago, but that's just me. And I am not a
I
49ers fan. I'm not a 49ers fan on any level. On any level. I'm just getting that out the way now.
I struggle. I get the legacy thing, but I struggle when I think Frank Gore deserved to, if we were taking somebody, Frank Gore over Roger Craig. But again, this is the legacy thing.
Right.
Um, I just think I don't think those things should be forced. And but like you say, you think that he deserved to get it a long time ago.
I
But
do.
I just Frank Gore double the stats, double the yards
Yeah.
for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think Roger
Mm-hmm.
Craig had a little over 8,000. He had under 9,000 for sure. Frank Gore, I think he had over 16,000. I just I'm not
Who did Roger
sure.
Craig play with though? Who did Roger Craig play with?
Bill Walsh. No,
Bill
I'm just kidding.
Walsh.
No, obviously he didn't. I
But,
know he didn't play with Bill Walsh. Everybody,
right.
it was the
Yeah.
coach, one
It's
of the
a
greatest
joke.
coaches in the
Yeah.
history of sports. Period. Um.
You got Joe Montana and who's that wide receiver from Mississippi Valley State who went to school with my mom?
I think it might have been. I was gonna try and make a joke and I couldn't.
I know. Look, no, I got you. Jerry Beans and Rice. You're welcome. I'm sorry. It's the talent that was on that team, and of course, unfortunately, he didn't have a moment like Dwight Clark did, and but he was just so solid. And okay, now this is bias. Get this out the way now. This is a bias thing because I used to go to Jerry Rice's camps and hear him, and he would do film study with us and talk about the roles and stuff like that. And whenever Roger Craig was on film, he was doing something that was significant for the success of that play. And Jerry made a comment. He made a comment. He said that guy never makes a mistake. And I've heard Joe Montana say the same thing. I've heard Steve Young say the same thing. And when you talk about these people who single out him to say, yeah, we were good. You guys saw me. You guys saw Jerry Rice. You guys saw blah, blah, blah. But that guy there never made a mistake. He was so solid. He did the job. So no, he wasn't flashy. No, he didn't have a bunch of stats. But if you're really supposed to know the game, when not only do the top teammates that you play with that are Hall of Fame walk-ins say that, when other teams say that about him, it lets you know the impression that he left, that he was a guy, he might not have had the stats, he might not have had the numbers, but he was somebody they were game planning for because he was so confusing of how the Niners were going to use him, and they knew however they used him, he was going to be impactful.
Yeah. So, I'm gonna let you have this one, Maestro. I'm not gonna complain too much anymore. I'm gonna let you have this one for Roger Craig. Shout out Roger Craig,
Yeah,
NFL Hall of
and Frank
Famer.
Gore too. And oh, by the way, Frank Gore too. You're right about Frank Gore. The team changed by the time Frank Gore comes around. The team is a different operation now. Frank Gore is significantly important for that.
Yeah.
There is no success post those guys without Frank Gore. I'm sorry, it's not. Say what you want to say about the. I'm gonna say, I'm gonna say the T word out loud. I apologize, everybody. Trash that came in through that organization that still remained or found a way to remain successful. You look at the core of those successful 49ers teams, you saw Gore on the back of a jersey. And why is that? He did everything.
Yeah.
And oh, by the way, was fortunate enough to be in a system he could actually get the numbers that he got. He was great out the backfield as a receiver. He was great as a blocker. He was great in pass protection. All those things. So him too. And I'm sorry. Listen, okay, God, Bob, I apologize. I'm blacking out on you. I'm sorry. Those cats who make the pros in any sport are next level. Okay,
Regardless
even a
of
guy
how
who,
good they are or not.
regardless of how they were, yeah, right. Because the guy who on his resume said, I was on the Carolina Panthers team for one Sunday is closer to Walter Payton than I am. Okay, and he only played one professional game his entire life, and he can say that he made it there that week. Okay, that is another level of ability. To stay there is another level of ability. To be impactful for your team is another level of ability. To be consistently impactful and meaningful for a team that's successful is another level of ability. Notice I stopped short of championships. Things happen for teams that win championships that are not always the best team. That doesn't excite me. You're not going to get me to get in the back of the van with you just over a championship ring. I mean, I'm not stupid. I want to see the ring first before I get in the back of the van. But anyway, but I'm sorry, too soon. But the thing is, when I see a cat like Roger Craig and Frank Gore, Jason Witten, whose name you mentioned earlier, is there any way? Come on, tell me, look me in the eye and tell me that those Dallas Cowboy teams would have had the success without a player like Jason Witten on the team. Somebody who didn't have to be in the spotlight, blocked on every play, received on every play, would get his helmet knocked off and his nose is bleeding. He's still trying to run and get extra yards instead of just laying down on the ground. On any level, without a Jason Witten or a Moose Johnson, who even Emmitt Smith admitted most of his key blocks for his best runs were done by Moose Johnson. Come on, man. Come on. Those teams would not be with guys like that excite me. Why? They bring their lunch pill and their hard hat every day, Bob, and they get it done. And they're not in the fancy commercial. They're not people who you see where the casual fan might even know who they are.
Yeah.
And see to me, that's what separated cats like Troy Polamalu, a guy like that who could change the game being in it. Dude, come on. I mean, to me, when I'm talking about a guy like that with you're at that other level of a successful team and you're reaching for that. And that says something. That says something. You can be Eli Manning. Is he a Hall of Fame quarterback? In my mind, absolutely not. Yes, he has 2 championship rings. Great. That's awesome. Well done. Well done, you. But to me, the quarterback who should be in the Hall of Fame, who only has 1 ring and should have had 2 if he wasn't hurt, Phil Simms, with what he did in New York at the time he did it in New York when offense was considered a transmittable disease because of who was his coach, Parcells, because of who was on defense, Lawrence Taylor. And when that team, that roller coaster team, was at their best, everybody was standing in front of their locker. And when they were at their worst, who was standing there? Phil Simms, taking all the questions. Never ran away from the press when they were at their worst and they were getting banged in New York like you know what's going to happen. And when you look at what he did on those teams, not just stat-wise, leadership-wise, and how you can say what you want to say about those Giants of those days, you had to plan for him. He's not in the Hall of Fame unless I missed something. And he's not even being considered. So come on, man. I'm sorry. I know I've made my comments about the Hall of Fame, how I think they're trash now. And you wound me up. I got bass in my voice. I'm all loud. People getting upset. I'm sorry.
They're gonna complain. They're gonna complain about the sound and how you're so much louder than I am because you're angry right now. Take some deep breaths.
I am. Yeah, I know. It winds me up, man. It winds me up. It winds me up. Oosa, oosa, boo, oosa, boo, oosa, boo.
Well, I want to jump into what I consider a controversial Hall of Famer because I believe he should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer, and he did not. He was not. And the reason he was not, most likely, is because of his shorter NFL career, falling in line with the likes of Patrick Willis, who made the Hall of Fame, but in my opinion, should have been first ballot. But because he had a short career, he did not make. I think he 5th year. I think I saw that he was 5th year that he made it in. But linebacker Luke Kuechly for the Carolina Panthers is a Hall of Famer this season.
I agree.
I agree. However, I do not agree with how long that it took. This was a guy, if you go back and watch those highlights of him, the way that he was, when you say the quarterback of the defense, there was no, at the time, Luke Kuechly and Patrick Willis are probably, obviously they're in the Hall of Fame, so calling them 2 of the greatest linebackers in the history of the game is obviously, it's stated because they're in the Hall of Fame now. But if you're building a team, those guys are the guys that, like, when I was growing up, I mean, obviously when I was growing up, Luke Kuechly and Patrick Willis were there, but like they're in the same line of the Brian Urlachers and the Ray Lewises, in my opinion. Uh,
Agreed.
and
Agreed.
you go
Who
look at
who
yeah,
Luke Kuechly, I'm sorry. I'm see you winding me up. I watched him call out the offensive plays, and I'm in the stands at a pro game, and you can hear Luke Kuechly guiding his teammates around. He studied film so much, he knew that guy's getting ready to go in motion. You got him over here. You just wait right there. I got this. You take a gap. You take this gap. And it's like, I'm going like, he's talking more than the quarterback. Now, they were playing a team that didn't have a good quarterback. No, it wasn't my Jets this time. And I watched that. I'm kind of like, man, that is Maestro-esque. I'm sorry, I cut you off. I'm with you on that. I'm with you 1,000% on that. It's just he was on, unfortunately, only one team that was any good.
yeah. Was
So
he?
yeah,
I can't. Was he on? Was he on the Carolina team that made the Super Bowl? I can't remember. I cannot remember what I think they were. I think he was. I think that was. Was
it would have
it?
been early in his career. It would have been early in his career if it
No,
was.
it would have been later. It would have been later because it was Cam
No, you're right.
Newton.
You're right. You're right. You're right. You're
When
right. No, you're
was
right.
it?
You're right.
It was the Panthers versus the Broncos. I can't. Was that 2018? I can't remember. Uh but regardless, that was like you said. I mean, he absolutely commanded that defense, and again, I'm going to say it. I already said quarterback of the defense. Like this guy was going to call out. He did so much film study. He was the Tom Brady of linebackers.
Yes. Yes.
He,
Yes.
he
Yes.
studied so much. He wanted to know you better than you knew you, and he did. Unfortunately, concussions took him from us. I'm acting like he died.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
But essentially, I mean, concussions took him from us way too
Yeah.
early when it comes
Yeah.
to football. I mean, this is a guy who he was injured. One of the seasons that he was injured, he played 10 games, still had 100 tackles. Like
Yep.
just crazy. I don't think he ever had
And
a
what?
season under. Correct me if I'm wrong. Anybody, let us know. I don't think he had
Yeah.
a
Please.
season
Please.
under 100 yards, 100 tackles. This guy was
And yes, he
all
was on
over
that
the
Super
field.
Bowl team. And yes, he was on that Super Bowl team that
Was
lost
it
to
okay?
the yeah, and also he was one of the players that talked about how the Patriots knew their plays
Uh,
and made comments. But the difference in between what he was doing from film study, they were doing in and players know. So yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. I apologize. I just wanted to get that in
no,
because that was a great pull by you. That was a
no,
great pull by you.
you're good. The next three, I don't think are very controversial at all. These are pretty much givens. I believe that the only reason the one is going to be controversial is because it's position. But it was all kickers. Anytime a kicker is even sniffing the Hall of Fame, somebody wants to throw a fit. But Adam Vinatieri, obviously,
He
was that
should be
what?
there.
Yeah,
He should be there.
yeah. What he was able to
There-
do with
there-
the Patriots and the Colts, it was he was such an amazing player. Imagine what he could have done. Oh, no, you know what? Sorry, I'm gonna
Go
Sebastian
ahead. Get it.
Janikowski. Could you? I
Get it, boo.
couldn't
Get it,
imagine
boo.
what Sebastian Janikowski could do in today's NFL. I mean, that was the guy who probably could have hit a 70-yard field goal back whenever he was playing without them having these special balls that they can do whatever they want to now.
Mm-hmm.
I would
Mm-hmm.
love to, but anyway, Adam Vinatieri. I mean, amazing kicker. I forget how many Super Bowls did he actually? Was he on the Colts Super Bowl win? I can't remember. He
I
had to have
want to
been.
say yes. I want to say yes because that was one of the jokes that he had. Um, and oh, by the way, look at those first three Super Bowl wins by the Patriots. Tom Brady might get the credit, but who made the kick? I'm just
Uh
gonna say that and leave it alone. I'm just gonna say that and leave it alone.
huh.
I just gonna say that and I leave it alone now.
Uh, but he made it. The other two, if they didn't make it first ballot, something was going to be wrong. And I believe these are first
Right.
ballot. I get thrown off by the years sometimes and how
Yeah.
they track. But
Yeah.
Larry Fitzgerald and Drew Brees, obvious Hall of Famers. Drew Brees, such an accurate quarterback. He was the reason that some coaches took a shot on those short quarterbacks, which never really seemed to work out as successful. But also, we saw that when coaches tried to go after those really, really tall quarterbacks, looking at you, Brock Osweiler, that they didn't always really necessarily work out either. So what's the perfect height for a quarterback, Maestro? What are we thinking? 6'3", 6'4"? You think that's a
You know
Super Bowl
what?
winning quarterback?
I'm very spoiled because, and I mean this for a reason.
Because you guys have never had a quarterback since Joe Namath.
Well, yeah,
So I'm
okay.
sorry. I'm
That was
sorry.
your point.
I'm
Yeah, Joe
sorry.
Namath. Yeah, Joe Namath.
I
Yeah, Joe Namath. So there, in your face. But no, I'm sorry. Too soon. Okay, here we go. Because now so many teams are moving to these smaller offensive lines that
yeah.
they can do more pulling, more stuff like that. It wasn't like back in the day where you had these guys that they started at 6'7", and you needed a quarterback that could at least see through their shoulder pads. So they had to be 6'3", 6'4". I think now with like a lot of offensive linemen being in the 6'6", 6'3", 6'4" range, you can have a quarterback, low 6 feet that will still be okay. Shorter than that, I think you're asking for trouble. Maybe, not necessarily.
So you're saying Diego Pavia from Vanderbilt might
You know
not
what?
do too well in the NFL?
Well, I'm gonna say it this way.
5'9", 5'9".
He's 5'9". I'm gonna say it this way. If he goes to the Jets, he has a shot.
6 foot at Vanderbilt, 5'9" when he got measured.
5'9" in the real world.
In the real. But
so
yeah,
so here you will appreciate this. In college, I played at 6'2" and 6'3". And my one camp workout, I get measured. I'm actually 6'4". And the guy who measured me said, "Man, your coach did you dirty."
I don't know why. So when I was in high school, they always put me under my weight. I don't know why. I have no idea why, but I remember being 320 and I was still on the program as 300. I'm like, I don't know. There must be a reason, but I don't know. But jump the last Drew Brees, Larry Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
There's no denying how amazing both of those players were. Larry Fitzgerald was such a rock for the Arizona Cardinals. I know there was that. I love when a player plays for one team for his entire career, and obviously he spent all 16, 17 years that he was in the league with the Cardinals. I know there was he almost, I don't know how much truth behind it there was, but he almost signed for his final season with the Vikings just to be able to play, because I believe he was he the ball boy back when Randy Moss was in the league initially?
I want to say yes. I think I remember hearing that story.
Yeah, I think he was the ball boy. And that's his hometown team. So I would have loved to have seen him in the Vikings purple just one time.
Who wouldn't?
But
who wouldn't have?
Yeah.
So
and hold on, I know, Maestro, I know you can't see me. I did put quotation marks around when I said Larry Fitzgerald as the hometown boy. There is no quotation marks. He is from Minneapolis, so I don't know why I did the quotation marks. I just so everybody knows, I'm not a complete idiot, but I sometimes do stupid things.
So let me get this out of the way. Larry Fitzgerald Jr. was at University of Pittsburgh when a niece who actually was going there for her graduate degree. And I was really trying to connect them two because I had a connection with the father. However brief it was, his father, who as a human being, I loved immensely because I thought he was one of the smartest people I'd ever met in my life. Just brilliant dude. And I remember Larry Fitzgerald as a kid running around and jumping around in the hotel. so it's like, say, look, man, what you gonna be? I'm gonna be in the NFL and go to the Hall of Fame. And he was like, I don't know, 6, 7, whatever it was at the time. I'm thinking to myself, the way that kid said, I think he really believes that. Now, normally you say, yeah, that's great, and you kind of shine the kid on. But for some reason, when he's I'm thinking to myself, I bet he's probably gonna do it. So I honestly, I did kind of follow Larry Fitzgerald Jr. because of my feelings for his dad. And he's at Pittsburgh. I'm thinking, my niece is at Pittsburgh. Larry's at Pittsburgh. He's single. She's single. Hey, didn't happen. But he's one of those cases where every everything you'd want to see if it was your kid. B, he's it. And I don't know, it was just always a thing of pride with me with him because I'm thinking to myself, I know where he comes from and I feel like I know who he is. And he's one of the few cats that no matter how successful he got, the more humble he got.
Hmm.
And talk about a model for a human being, not just an athlete, but as a human being, he was definitely it for me. Just like, and of course he reminded me the most of the person who influenced me the most growing up, and that was Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice going to Mississippi Valley State. My mom went to Mississippi Valley State. Me going to Jerry Rice's camps because it wasn't too far from where we lived. Seeing him do what he did, getting the success that he got, hearing all the noise he heard, I still had an appreciation for him. So to me, Larry Fitzgerald was the closest to him that I saw in terms of as a human being, and it's just really good to see a good guy. Again, not a single ring on his body, but if you're gonna tell me you're gonna keep him out the Hall of Fame, I'm sorry, I'm gonna be setting your house on fire tonight. You may or may not be in it, but I'm sorry. I apologize. It's just that dude. And listen, if I'm wrong, if I'm speaking more with my heart than with my brain, call me out on it, people. Please call me out on it. But if you watched him play, if you really watched him play, and you followed him even a little bit in his day, and you don't think that he was always one of the best receivers around, like to me, the closest person I can think of today that might be like him is Justin Jefferson's.
Hmm.
And tell me how you feel. Very few drops. And also went across the middle, got a lot of hospital balls that he ended up bringing down and keeping. You never saw him chicken wing a ball ever, even when sometimes he probably should have. I'm just sorry. To me, he just represented everything that I wanted in somebody to see them play every day, that I just enjoyed watching them play just because of who he was. The fact that he was absolutely amazing was just bonus.
No, I mean, amazing player. I do want to jump because I know that you would not have seen this yet, but the MVP was announced, and
Oh,
it was a very, very close win.
really? Really?
Yes, I don't know
So, okay.
who. Go ahead.
Okay, if I had to guess, because the top spoken of people were my boy from Georgia who now plays in LA. Lord mercy. When he played at Georgia, I say his name all the time. We went to
Oh,
Detroit. I felt bad for him.
you're drawing a blank. You're drawing a
Yeah.
blank. Oh no, I'm just gonna. I guess we're gonna sit here until you figure it out.
Yeah, you got me.
Stafford.
Matthew Stafford. Yeah, thank you, Matthew Stafford. I could see his face. I could like when I think I have was a Georgia jersey by him too. But I know he was considered the front runner forever. The other names I was trying to remember who else I was hearing name wise.
One's in the Super Bowl.
Of course, you were hearing for Buffalo.
Josh Allen.
Thank you. See, Maestro's at that age, y'all.
You got to start taking some fish oil.
Yeah, I need to take some fish oil and like bathe once in a while too. But yeah, so okay, so if I had to say anything because of just because how the media was talking, I'm gonna have to say Matthew did Matthew Stafford get it?
Yes, he won 24 first place votes to 23 first place votes from Drake May. Drake May.
Oh, that's right. That you know what? I forgot about Drake May being in the mix. Apologize. Drake, I apologize to you 1,000%. I forgot that you were in the mix for MVP because of the season you had. And this isn't this talking. Okay. I want to get it out the way. This is Maestro. I forgot about you, boo. My bad.
I don't know.
I'm sorry.
I don't know who got the other three first place votes though. Could have been. I know that probably Christian McCaffrey might have been up. I'm not saying that he got. I'm not saying that he got one of the votes, but McCaffrey. I think that. I assume that Josh Allen probably was up there,
Yeah.
and I was hoping. I think. I was hoping Trevor Lawrence would get a little bit more love because of what the Jaguars did this season. Um, but I doubt anybody voted for a Jaguar. But I would assume that probably Josh Allen was the one that got the some of the other
Yeah, I would
votes.
have to think so too.
But
I would think so too. Yeah.
but one thing that is interesting is I didn't realize this is apparently Matthew Stafford this season is the oldest quarterback to ever win the MVP award, which that's interesting to me because I would have expected that Brady or Manning probably would have won one when they were older because Stafford's only 37. Well, I say only, but
Yeah, but
for a Hall of Fame
in the
quarterback, that doesn't
NFL,
sound
dude, in the NFL, 37 is like 114.
yeah. You can still be in
I
your
mean,
prime.
let's be
You
real
at
about it.
quarterback,
Yeah.
you can still be in your prime. So let's close the show. We're gonna because I know we will ramble on and on and on. We're doing a pretty
Yes.
good job at the time this time.
Yeah.
Super Bowl prediction. We have Sam Darnold, Seattle Seahawks, Drake May's New England Patriots, Drake May, runner up to MVP Matthew Stafford. I was going to say Sam Darnold again. Sam Darnold, who if he didn't get, he had to have gotten some MVP votes. I know I said Josh Allen, but Sam Darnold had to have gotten some MVP votes. Daniel Jones was in that running until he got hurt. I had his name in the running. I don't know how many people actually did, but I know we talked about it a little bit. But Maestro, do you think people are going to be watching the Super Bowl past halftime? Do you think it's going to be close enough that at halftime we're going to still have millions and millions and millions of people tune in?
I do. I do, because of the way the Patriots play mistake-free possession ball, because when they make a mistake, it's huge, as we've seen now. But now they've also proven that they can make mistakes and still win. But the way they play smart ball, and the way the Seahawks play with like just all gas no brakes on every possession. So there's a wildness about them. I think I think those two things are going to neutralize, and I think we're going to end up with the game with almost an equal amount of big plays as we get on big plays on both sides of the ball. I think every possession is not going to be consequential, but I think every possession is going to be meaningful in terms of how it's going to affect not only field position, but also momentum of the game. And I say that with a slight question mark around momentum, because both of these teams can turn around momentum on a single play. That being said, I think they're matched in their energies. The negatives and positives for each side are matched so well that I think that we're going to have a game with, like, I think the game is going to be decided, honestly, in the last 4 minutes of the game. I think that's when we're going to see this game actually really decided. So yes, I believe it's going to be a good game. It's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a close game all the way to the end.
Huh. Interesting.
What say you, Boo?
45-13 Seattle Seahawks.
So you're saying it's going to be sort of close.
45-13 Seattle Seahawks. Potentially that touchdown being a defensive touchdown. I would not be surprised if the Patriots did not score an offensive touchdown in this game.
Wow, you're sticking with that, ain't you, Boo?
I am sticking with that from last week's episode. This isn't going to be the last that I don't think this is going to be the last that we see of either of these teams, but I do believe with that core, as long as they can go out and get another receiver, Diggs is getting older, and I don't know how much longer. I don't know if I feel like Diggs even really wants to play that much longer. And obviously,
can I say something?
Go ahead.
I don't feel like he wants to play now. Did you see after his touchdown in the previous game how he kind of reacted to it? He did his dance. He did his typical stuff. But did you see how removed he was from the rest of the team? And usually he's a guy like in all his teammates' faces, and he's like one of the guys, and he's not that. And I don't think that was them as much as it was him just kind of being like kind of in a remote zone. I apologize to cut you off on that, but that body language meant something to me with that.
Yeah, and I know he's going through a lot. There's some legal things right now, some allegations and stuff
Yeah.
like that. I know that that can be
Yeah.
affecting it, but I don't see this season. I just don't feel like I've really seen that he wants to do it much longer.
Right.
And he could, but I don't get that feeling. So I do
No.
think they need to go out. But with that, with May Henderson back there, I just think that we're going to potentially see. I'm not going to call them a dynasty, but I do think the Patriots are going to make a trip back in the next few years to the
I
Super
agree.
Bowl.
I agree with you.
I
I agree with
believe
you. I think you're calling the perfect call here, bud.
I do believe that they will win one with at least one with Drake May. Uh, but I think this is Sam Darnold's year, and I hope for all the upper management in the Minnesota Vikings that decided that it was time to move on from Sam Darnold. I hope that they cry themselves to sleep after Sam Darnold wins the Super Bowl immediately
Bob is
after
not
they
petty
let
at
him
all,
go.
see y'all. Bob is not petty at all. Bob is so not petty. He is so just above board. But he's like, I hope they cry themselves to sleep and their bed's so wet they can't even sleep.
It's one of those. I get frustrated because I have talked about it before, and again, hearing Tom Brady talk about it, we're in a time where quarterbacks aren't expected to learn. It feels like, and I feel like, but we also force them in way too early. I never thought JJ McCarthy was ready to lead the
Right.
team. I know that they wanted to see what they had in him, but he just spent an entire season, his rookie year, hurt. And now we're forcing him in to see what he's got. He's not up to speed because he spent that whole rookie season hurt. He doesn't have a
And
year
and
under his belt. You needed to have him
right.
sitting down, studying. Is Sam Darnold the guy that anybody would think would be a guy to study behind 2 or 3 years ago? Absolutely not. But he showed what he could do. Yes, he
He
stumbled
showed,
he
yes.
stumbled at the end of the season, but we knew what we had with him, and I think that we needed to give JJ 2 more years sitting behind a quarterback, learning, getting up the speed. And we just went through a season where he got hurt 4 times. We're going to have to bring in a
Yep.
quarterback no matter what now, just
No
as
matter
an
what.
insurance policy. So we'll
Yep.
see what it is. We'll see how Aaron Rodgers fares with the Vikings next season. I'm just kidding. He
Hey,
hasn't
listen,
completed the
listen.
circle yet.
Yeah, I know, right? This soon come. Listen, here's the thing, guys. For those of our fans who might not know, it's not just making those games on Sunday. There's so many reps and stuff that are done pre and post practice during the season, and they can only practice so much now because of the new collective bargaining agreement. So your contact hours official contact hours are limited. So a lot of guys do a lot of off-season stuff and things like that, where like quarterbacks will invite receivers out on a vacation, and while they're on vacation, they'll go find a football field, kind of invite some high schoolers out, and they kind of play and have some fun. But that's also getting their timing and stuff together. And what we're getting at is McCarthy didn't get any of that. So he was hurt trying to get better, where he got none of the physical timing down to develop that muscle memory. I know a lot of people don't believe in muscle memory, but developing that mental and muscle memory to have something to have a library to pull from when he's in the game. And you saw the effects of that this particular year when he seemed when it wasn't easy. It didn't take much for him to get rattled, and he was discombobulated related a lot of times when you were thinking
Spell
like,
that.
wow, that was just yeah, DIC related, dead DED. Yes, and a biovowel for my buddy. The it's so we see the outcome of their work on Sundays in the NFL, Sundays, Mondays, Thursdays, whatever. But there's so many hours that go into that, both on the practice field, off the practice field, in the film room, and stuff like that. That if you're hurt, you're not able to do it because when you're rehabbing, you're just trying to get your body back to the point where you can function at that high level again. And as we've talked about, the difference between the cat that stays in the league for 13 years and the cat who only gets one game where he gets to leave after the game, and he has that one helmet and that one jersey from that one time he played in the NFL. The difference between those two guys is not a lot. It's not a lot. So
Do that again. Do that
it's
again. That was
hard.
that
It's
was
hard.
interesting. Do that again. Nice. Nice. I don't know if we can play that, Maestro. I'm going to have to probably block that part of the episode out.
I'm
Thank you.
sorry.
Oh. But yeah, so hold on. Whoa. I just
Oh,
realized
oh,
something, Maestro. I just
oh, what do we
realized
do?
that you skated around the answer. I don't believe
Oh,
you gave us a prediction
okay.
outside of the. I'm not letting you get away from that.
23-21. The game is won in a field goal with right before the 2-minute warning. And it's going to be the Patriots.
Okay, thank you. I thought I was going to have to ask you again for a team.
I
I
was,
could see you were
I,
going to. I knew you were
I
going to.
almost, you know
I
me
could
too good.
see it.
I was making you wait. I want to make you big, baby, big, baby.
Well, anyways, what a wonderful episode, everybody. This is such a great episode. Maestro, do you have any final words for the people?
Just appreciate all your comments on our shorts and stuff like that. Everything that we've been trying to do. We're trying to up our presence for you. We're trying to get. And listen, don't feel like you have to wait for Bob to send out a thing to ask for a question. Go on and shoot us questions when you shoot us questions, boo. We
Yeah,
got you. We want to be that show that if there's something that you're not hearing other places, give us a chance to talk about it for you. And if it's something that's way off the skis, Bob will let me know early. We'll do some research for you, and even if it's gonna, and you guys know I was gonna qualify what we say. So we'll always let you know. Look, this is how I see it right now, and this is why I see it because that's what you really want to hear. Why we see the things a certain way. So just know that we appreciate you guys, and let us really be that show for you because we really want to be.
absolutely.
So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here with us.
Yeah, and we're never gonna if it's something that we don't know a whole lot about, like you said, we'll research it, and we're not gonna give it 2 minutes. We're gonna give you some real thoughts on it. So give us whatever you guys want us to talk about. Just you guys let us know. TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. Shoot us a private message if there's something that you want to
Yeah.
talk about.
Any cricket questions? I got you. Anybody into cricket?
There you
I got you, boo. I got you.
Well, I appreciate you, Maestro, as always, and
Same, brother.
everybody that
Same,
listens to
same
the
here.
show. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week.